I'm a journalist. I often write stories about people, sometimes embellishing them to make them more interesting. What would turn to be the biggest story of my life would be what happened to me at my grandmother's cottage that night back in Glenvale. I've tried my best to tell this story to anyone who will listen. No one believes me. So let this be a warning to you. Those stories about her are true. They're not some folk tale. And when you hear her cry in the distance, don't listen. I was warned not to stay in my grandmother's cottage overnight. The villagers said the graveyard beyond the moors was haunted. They said that a banshee was among those storms. I laughed. The way city folk laugh at country folk and their weird tales. After 20 years in Dublin, ghosts didn't scare me. That was until I heard her cry. The first night back in Glenvale, I couldn't sleep. The wind pressed against the shutters. It was like someone was breathing on the outside of the house. I was half dreaming when I heard it. A sound so faint it could have been the bubbling of the river. It sounded like a sob. Slow, aching, full of grief. It continued and then would choke off. I told myself it was nothing, but the longer it persisted, the more agitated I became. So I got up, put my shawl on, and made my way to the door with my lit candle. When I opened the door, I could hear it better now. It was a sob, oftentimes mimicking a scream. But what I thought was coming from the river was instead in the direction of the graveyard. When I first realized that that's where the sound was coming from, a chill ran down my bones. Like the devil himself had grabbed my spine. I steeled myself. My curiosity outweighed my fear for the moment, and I made my way towards the graveyard. The air was cold and wet with mist. I followed the sound for the leaning headstones, my candle trembling in the wind. When the light touched my grandmother's grave, I saw her. There was a woman crouched behind my grandmother's gravestone. Her hair was wild. It was black. It draped down through her face. Her dress was little more than rags. She rocked back and forth, moaning and crying to herself. Are you all right? I whispered, my voice full with terror. She lifted her head. Her face, God, her face, I will never forget it. Her skin was like ash. Her eyes were two empty sockets. When she smiled at me, she raised her head higher to reveal the teeth that were razor sharp in her mouth. And then she let loose a scream. Not a scream, but a roar. And this roar echoed through the graveyard. And then nothing. I don't remember what happened next. When I woke, dawn had turned the sky white. I was lying beside my grandmother's grave. The grass was slick with dew. My hands were shaking. I tried anything to tell myself that what had happened didn't happen. I was sleepwalking. I had a bad dream. I somehow transported here. But I knew what I had saw. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to tell. So I went to the village and found the undertaker. When I told him my story, his face went white. "You shouldn't go there after dark," he said. "Your grandmother, she wanted to be buried beside Moa Fallon." That name meant nothing to me, so he went on to explain that Mora, was the woman who died in the fire decades ago. Her husband vanished the same night. The villagers say her spirit still weeps for him, her cry a warning before death. What debt did my grandmother owe her? I asked. He only shook his head. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I waited for the sounds. At the window, I heard them. The wailing began at midnight, closer this time. Through the mist, I saw two figures among the stones. The Banshee clad in white, and then a second one rising up through the ground. It was my grandmother. Her eyes found mine, knowing, hollow, full of grief. And then the Banshee turned her face to me. This time her cry wasn't warning. She was calling to me.